Guys, we got some official information on Final Fantasy X-3. Final Fantasy X officially launched in July 2001 and is the first Final Fantasy game to get a sequel, which launched in March 2003. To be honest, it wasn't that good of a sequel, but it was fun to revisit that world and see those characters once again. And that song 1000 Words, ooh, gave me goosebumps. But now we got some official information about Final Fantasy X-3. Reading from RPG site, there was an interview done by Famitsu with key Final Fantasy X staff about Final Fantasy X-3. Tetsuya Nomura said, "If we were to make a X-3, we somehow have a synopsis written by Nojima-san." He goes on to say it's sleeping right now, but the plot itself does exist. Lead Motomu Toriyama basically told us that there's no way that we're going to be getting Final Fantasy X-3 anytime soon. The reason is because Final Fantasy VII Remake. Now, I'm assuming there's going to be 3, maybe 4 parts, and part 2 is probably going to come in the first quarter or halfway through the current generation. Third part will come in the second half of the generation and will probably spill into the next generation. So we're probably looking at another decade until we see this game. Toriyama goes on to say the probability is not 0, but we are not in the phases where we can talk about it, unless we have finished producing Final Fantasy VII Remake. The HD remaster of Final Fantasy X comes packed in with a new story called Final Fantasy X Will. This is just an audio, but it takes place 1 year after the events of Final Fantasy X-2. And while it's focused on 2 new characters, it features Titus, Yuna, Lulu, and Wakka post Final Fantasy X. This will most likely be the jumping off point for Final Fantasy X-3. Tetsuya Nomura even produced concept art of the slightly older version of the beloved characters, as well as the newcomers. The story basically tells us that if Titus can return, so can Sin. And the story ends with Yuna declaring that she'll defeat Sin once again. I don't know about you guys, but I don't care how long this game takes. As long as we get it, I'm fine with it. It could take 20 years for all I care. But don't take 20 years. But, you know, it's my first Final Fantasy game. It's my favorite Final Fantasy game. So as long as we get it, I'm cool. Let me know what you guys think. You think this is just false hope? You think it's actually gonna happen? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you're always up to date with my videos, and I'll see you next time.